time is nigh. Open up your eyes to see the signs of the times. Got to be wise to all of their lives. Look to the skies from where my help comes. Wake up, got to wake up from the slumber. Don't let them pull you under. Rise up above the water. Never let them wrestle you into the mind.
Yes, greetings. Can you hear me? Greetings in the name of His and Her Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, Empress Wazira Menin. Y'all already know, one perfect balance. I see the time. I see the time. I see the time. Welcome to Politically Incorrect, where we get it correct. And if we're not correct, feel free to correct us. I know right now it's not as late, not as early either, but we here. So go tell a friend and tell a friend. We up and running. We got an interesting night. A lot of things that happened this week. Oh man, boy. Look, we gonna get into it tonight. We gonna discuss for sure the by-election, and we gonna discuss why what happened. So tell a friend and tell a friend. You know, we got a conversation tonight. We got some videos to look at too. Some a bit hilarious. I gotta definitely tap into one or two of my other, streamers online, Chase Files, that young lady Stephanie, she got a video up. I definitely got to give her credit for it, but I want to analyze it. So I'm going to have to play it in order to analyze it. So Steph, I hope you don't mind. Yeah, Politically Incorrect. We going to do the Associate Press thing. I'm going to just tap into that. But there's also a message I have for the DLP. I actually have a message for the DLP. Yeah, the messenger, man. Final warrior. Show to LRG while we at it, man. But for sure, we got some work to do tonight, family. It's going to be a very interesting night. I'm telling you, I did not expect the last two videos to kind of go the distance they went. It wasn't even a thought that someone brought to my attention. And that individual is someone who's actually part of the Chad Blackman circle, I should say. I want to thank you. You know who you are. Thanks for the conversation as well. It was enlightening, to say the least. But definitely got a message for the DLP. I got a message for Miss Do John and for Mr. Thorne. Yes, a message for Miss Do John and Mr. Thorne. Like I said earlier, there's a saying where they say silence is consent, right? No, silence is, we used to think that silence is consent. But in 2025, silence is betrayal, man. Silence is betrayal. And I'm going to show you, in fact, this is for Miss Felicia Do John as well. So we're gonna get into that tonight for sure. Politically incorrect, be a little controversial, so a little bit, just a little bit, but we're gonna touch on some stuff tonight, like an open wound. It might be a little sensitive, but in order to clean the wound, you got to clean the womb. Or should I say rather, in order to heal the womb, you got to clean the womb. That's the best way to put that. I give thanks, Spirit. Yeah, in order to heal the wound, you got to clean the wound. You can't stitch it up with debris. You got to get that out of there. So, Mr. John, I got something to share with you too. Like I said, silence isn't consent, sweetheart. It's betrayal. I suspect you have been betrayed. But we're gonna analyze that tonight. So go tell a friend and tell a friend. Politically Incorrect, up and running. I wanted to play a song, but I decided not to play it in case it gives the wrong impression. It's a Grainer song, actually. I somehow I just seem to know the tune. I don't know why. I just seem to remember that from my childhood. I remember him on a stage with an outfit on as well. I just put the phone on vibrate. Let me go and get some eyes in the sky. Let me put some. Okay, I find it. That was easy tonight, though. That's almost like one of the first time. How'd that happen so quick? Well, I don't know. I don't normally get my own link like that so fast, but it was right there waiting. Okay. But definitely divine greetings to each and everyone. There's a new feature they have on this platform. You could throw the comments on the side of the screen. So I'm just going to play it live. Don't do no crap and write no crazy stuff, I'm going to fine you, man. Send Black Lion Security for you here. Don't play around. But yeah, we up and running. Nevertheless, yeah. Tell a friend and tell a friend, man. I'm going to give y'all a few minutes, man. Some folks to come on in the chat. Come on in the room. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to look at this thing tonight from a very different perspective, a perspective that we don't always look at. And so, like I said, silence is not consent. It is betrayal. And yeah. Mr. Thorne, I put a message there for you as well. I know you like Latin and that kind of stuff. You guys, but we gonna get to it. There's so much, there's so much that happened that may have missed, folks were watching it, but a lot of people miss a lot of things that happened. And so we gonna tap into it. We gonna tap into it. We gonna tap into it. Anyhow, man, I gotta shout some folks out. In the meantime, greetings to the family. Greetings to you, Sean. Greetings. Welcome. In fact, tonight, again, it's Friday. You can believe that? The time just be. So before we dive right in, first, let me just give some honors for those who observe today as their sacred day. I want to say Shabbat Shalom. And, we, again, just in case of acknowledging Assalamu Alaikum, peace, Islam to the Islamic community, peace to the Moors and Maroons. Y'all already know how it is. Ashe Hotep to the conscious community. Kidamawi. Y'all already know, to the brethren and the sister. And namaste, yes, the brothers out in the east and sistering. But to everybody else tuning in, pure love and pure light. Go tell a friend to tell a friend. I saw a lady, I said, I was doing a video actually to send to the conference they're having in Ghana. And she was saying to me, I know this face, I know you from somewhere. And I know, of course, me, as always, me, my twin brother, me, a little short guy, But shout out to the family and the folks who tune in faithfully, whether on the live or you tune in after the fact, or you download it and watch it on your phone in secret, or you copy it and send it to a friend, or you send a link to a minister or somebody else that scrutinize it, and are the folks that actually type and block stuff. I had a program last week. Which one was that? The one with what was it last week? Yeah, I think the one with young Adriana. And so now Facebook has pretty much taken that off as well. Apparently someone claimed that the program is theirs. So someone claimed the rights to my program completely and said I stole the whole program. So they literally took a whole hour and a half. They said it belongs to them. I'm like, yo, I feel like, I don't know if I had to be honored or flattered or what. Like, wow. But whatever, man. Like, whatever, man. I can't make it up, family. Just do your part. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. That's all I can ever ask for. There's people say to like, share, and subscribe, all that stuff. Just tell a friend to tell a friend. Let me go ahead and put the line on tonight. Open up the lines. Let me go ahead and add that to so that when folks decide to call in, I can put the number up in a second, family. Yeah, I can put the number up in a second. So give me a minute. Later on in the program, we're going to open the phone lines. You can call in and share your thoughts on some of the things we're going to discuss. But definitely, again, family, welcome. I want to say thanks to everyone that support the program and one or the other. Yes, no, we're not monetized. Someone said I need to promote the program. Look, man, you got to promote the program. I'm doing my part. You got to do your part. This is not really a job, man. This is a duty. So we're doing our part as best we can. So let me tap on this one here. Yeah, this could work. So we're gonna go with this tonight. Where we at? Hang on. Yeah, this is where we at tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and put the banner up. There you go. All right. So that's the program for tonight. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. We might have to change that or change how we do this thing. We're gonna figure it out just now, man. But anyhow, y'all already know. Let's dive into this thing tonight, man. A message to DLP. I was gonna put them, so nobody don't run with it. But then it's like either way you put it, I just gonna be straightforward. I got a message for the DLP for sure. Definitely for Miss Stu John. It was good to see her, on the campaign. Shout out to Alex Mitchell as well, and to the sister and Stephanie Williams as well. I wanted to look at some stuff. So the first we want to get into though is why what happened. Why what happened happened? That's the $1 million question. Why what happened happened? Now, let me go ahead and put this here out the way. Is this it right here? Yeah, there you go. So we're gonna have to share my screen. Let me go ahead and jump right into this because it's going to be one of those nights. So we're going to share the screen real quick. Click on that. Click on that. So the question is, why did what happened happen? Anybody have any ideas, perhaps? Any ideas whatsoever? When it comes to election, when it comes to politics, you know what I mean? We could say we want to say all we like, man. There's a number of things that goes on that we must pay attention to. Good night to you, Miss Paris. Greetings. Good night to everyone. Good night to you too. Shout out to you and the whole family, near and far. Rhonda from Guyana, shout out to you too. Finally, you're on. Yes, greetings to you too, Rhonda, and the whole of Guyana. Shout out to Demerara forever. This is quite interesting. This is the second time that has happened, but I'm paying attention. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. So we have some cyber guests tonight, clearly, because I noticed it the last program, but I'm definitely noticing it tonight. Some things that wouldn't ordinarily happen is happening, but I don't know. We're going to go forward, man. We're going forward for sure. Shout out to you again, the DLP, more confident now. They might start elections early. Well, don't get into that yet, Sean. We're going to discuss that too, and that's a very serious possibility. But before we get into that, we're going to share some thoughts as to why what happened happened. Like I said, silence is not consent, it's betrayal. Was Felicia Dujon betrayed, by her very own, by her very own is the question. You know what I'm saying? Fortune favors the brave. And that's what up, fortune favors the brave or favors the bold. Was the DLP bold enough is the question. Greetings to you too, family. Divine greetings to you and everyone, every single one. Good evening to brethren, all in all. Yes. Joyette and greetings. Good night to you too, family. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the different links too. Appreciate the energy, the synergy, and the links, man. I give thanks to the inbox crew. Folks to be sending me all those messages and stuff. I give thanks for the information. A lot of things happening. Give thanks. Good night. You started too late, but I up waited. Well, I apologize for the starting late. And that's the thing, family, because should we try to shift it back to the early period, or should we try to, because late works out for me a little better in some ways. I could take care of the family issues. Well, not issues, the family matters, the family situation in the evening. They can then relax rather than coming on early and then still got to come off and then deal with some family matters, that is dealing with the family late. And not all the family should be up that late. If you follow me, the little ones should be in bed by a certain time. So there's some things and responsibilities I have to deal with as well. So please be tolerant, and I appreciate your patience. But if y'all would like it earlier, let's see how we could probably do something a little different. We could try something, but give thanks for the comment, by the way, and we'll take some consideration to that. Maria, we see you too, family. Greetings to you too. Daffodil, man. Shout out to you and the family, near and far, on all the little flowers in the garden. Give thanks. Even the thorns. Beverly, give thanks for you as always. Greetings. Good night to you too. Good night. Shout out to the whole Clark family, the whole entire Clark family. Yo, Clark, you see what's going on? They allow the little links on the side of the screen right now. You can see what's going on. I don't know how it looks from your side, if you can see it clearly or not, but let me know. Miss Dixon, I give thanks. Good night to everyone as well, Sandra. You and the whole family. Pedro, good night to you too. Greetings, brethren. Rhonda, no problem. The Dems need a change strategy. They lack leadership. Listen, peace. We're going to touch on this tonight. We're going to touch on strategy, and we're going to touch on leadership. So like I said, we're going to discuss why what happened happened. Why what happened is we're going to touch on that as well, man. So make sure you give me your thoughts and comments somewhere. In fact, the comments right there on the side, right there, if you look close enough, you will see them. And just drop a link, drop your message. We're going to do this thing a little different now, man. Now that I see how we could make this thing happen, it's on now. It's definitely on now. So tell a friend, man. They say, it looks good, right? Well, we stepping up the thing, man. For sure. But I want to play this video real quick, family. Like I said, this video is not meant to be insulting in any form. In fact, let me say this in the early. If you feel some type of way about this, man, you shouldn't be involved in elected politics in no form or fashion, because you can't put yourself under the microscope and then wonder why people looking at you. You know, that's a different psychosis altogether. But we're going to analyze this carefully. Like I said, silence is not consent. It is betrayal. And so let me play this video only for the sake of analyzing it, you know. And again, I got this off another affiliate page. So give thanks for the affiliate allowing to share. I trust that they allowed me to share and not making a noise. Nevertheless, we're going to deal with this thing. Let's take a look at this. And by the way, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, right? In fact, let me say this in the early, because I was told by a very an individual that I'm aware of who's involved in politics, that sometimes I could be a little hard on you know, people, ministers and whatnot. And I don't necessarily see it as being hard. I see it as me being truthful. If I'm saying something that is not truthful, that's another story. But if I'm identifying something and making my opinion on something, which I'm allowed to have like everybody else, the thing is I'm sharing it on a space where others might agree, some may disagree. But if I roll one of the numbers on the screen, you can reach me, call me and tell me, look, I don't know if I agree with you, brother man, and this is my thoughts on it. The same way you allowed to disagree with me. Why can't I have my own different opinion? And this is my opinion, man. Miss Dujon was betrayed. She was betrayed because a lot of things that could and should have happened obviously didn't happen. And of course, they can discuss the why. But I suspect something else. We're going to look at it, for example, because there's no way certain things should have been allowed. I got a few highlights just to point out a few. Vote for who? Well, I'm gonna let this play. Let me let this play. You know, I know folks ain't gonna like this, man, but we're gonna talk about this though. We need to talk about this.
New excellent schools and this comes.
Shout to the Chase file.
Look. I don't know. Telling me that she wanted me to be present with education transformation in this country. I looked around and said, I am eating my food. Capacity, technology, young people. You gotta go to surf rap party. I got so depressed that people were saying that the Democratic Labour Party can't win. I got depressed. I came here to curse Shadow. You got a big fat man. You got a big man. If he overweight, he overweight.
What have you been doing for the last year or so in this constituency, apart from eating some jam puff, sir?
Come and vote. Please, I beg you, I implore you. Come out and vote. Barbados needs you to vote.
Representative for St. Peter North.
This here, look. I done with that. New excellence.
All right, so basically,
schools and this.
Basically, right? Let me pause this real quick, man, and get out of here, man. Let me say this, family. It is obvious. When you reach a point where you start to I don't want to use the word school, right? But when it becomes obvious, right, that people that you I don't want to say trust, because I don't know if that's the right word, people that you look to for support when it comes to politics and how you pick the line. Well, I don't want to call it lineup, but you pick the folks that supposed to be on the stage, and all this kind of thing. Like it's like basketball. Let's use basketball. I'm using sport basketball. When you look at basketball, and you're picking at your first, your starters. There's people you want to put that will bring a certain synergy to the page. When it comes to sports, that was the team effort. Let me put team effort. Better yet, let's use West Indies cricket. I think cricket is better. Let's use West Indies cricket. When you think of West Indies cricket right now in 2025, as opposed to when I was growing up, and this was back in the 80s, and it was showed on TV, England, Australia, and India, and they got a little duck walk across. I used to watch cricket for one reason, just to watch the duck walk across the screen when the guy was out for no runs. Didn't happen too many times, but it happened. I thought it was kind of funny. I wasn't into cricket at the time. But to see that, how they work together in terms of winning together, putting their best foot forward. When you look at cricket now, and you look at the guys playing, you start to wonder, wait, I see he playing, but he looked like he was partying all night. No effort, no energy, no winning ingredients. Not that they would not lose still sometimes back then, but what was it? It was that it was so obvious that almost everybody was clearly showing up for the game. It wasn't a case where they were not showing up for the game. It was obvious that they were showing up for the game. When it comes to this particular group of individuals who are lining up, I want to make this very clear. Ms. Dujon, obviously, like anybody who's running, Alex Mitchell, Stephanie, anybody who's into politics is going to campaign, go to door, do certain things, whatnot. I know she had a campaign office or two, I think, and then flyers and whatnot. People had a couple of shirts walking around, whatnot. Now, I know that she's on different programs, and a lot of people in Barbados claim, and this is where I'm telling Ms. Dujon direct, they claim that they support her. They support her, Lots of folks say, yeah, we support you. Yeah, we support you. And you hear that over the internet. You hear that over the viral space, the cyborg space. You hear that. But when it comes to the front line now, when it comes to the showing up now, and got to represent in the physical, you see, this is where I go in with, but far as silence is not consent. There are a lot of people who was loud online, man. Showing up online. And yes, I watched the opposition page on YouTube or whatever it is. I saw a couple nights. I saw a few. Because like I said, I'm always interested in people who want to help people, because in reality, that's what I do all day, every day. Full stop. So it's not about a BLP or DLP. Y'all already know I don't support none of the two. Straight. I support individuals. I support individuals who have the interests of the people. So I ain't into the whole, whatever they call it, but into people. So there's some folk, and I saw some folks looking to do some good work. So I don't doubt the sister was passionate and she was sincere, wanting to make that difference. But I suspect there's some individuals around her that push her, because there was another guy in that area before. If look, Pedro, you might know better than me. Wasn't the guy, what's his name? Tobias or Charles something? I don't remember I don't really know his name like that. But I'm almost sure if I go and Google the campaign from 2018, at least 2018, maybe even the last one, but I'm almost sure I go and see, was it he for St. James North? That same guy, the one that, that guy that's sometimes too biased. He can be a bit too biased at times, but that's all right. I suppose the name fit the gentleman. I don't recall his name directly, but let me shout out to the family too. Greetings, brethren, Rastafari. Good night to you, King Alfred, and all the viewers. Good greetings. Bring solutions. Hold on, Daffodil. We're going to touch that in a minute. We're going to touch that. Charles Worrell. That's right. Is his name, it's not the same guy, Tobias Charles Worrell? Was he not the representative for that area? Was he not the one campaigning and making all the noise? So why did they go back with him? Why did they pluck him unless he was rolling with Ronnie. I don't think he's rolling with Ronnie, because I remember sometime last year he had jumped on a bandwagon and had a lot to say about Emmanuel, which is funny because I don't know this man like that. I saw him online. I saw a few of his videos. He supported some stuff. He even came on Politically Incorrect. He was very happy to do so. And we had an interesting conversation, as men can have conversation, but men don't always agree, and men are allowed, like anybody else, to disagree. We disagree, but we continue going, and nobody holding no feelings. But I'm trying to figure out, why did they pluck Mr. Charles Warren out the particular seat that he was preparing himself for quite some time? Then to put Mr. John in a space, all right, but you can't judge a fish on the ability to climb a tree. But put it in water, it will swim naturally. I just feel as Mr. John was put to climb a tree, and not in a vase of water, where she would have been better off. Nevertheless, when I looked at a few of the videos and different things they had on the platform, I saw some things that I had to answer some questions about. Because again, you want to bring individuals that have energy and synergy. I'm saying, where was the support? I watched a few of those videos at length, and at no point in time did they ever show the audience. They did not show the constituencies, well, the people that were supporting the event. They never did that. And if I say A, God say B, how comes? In fact, I remember a time we were doing a youth program, and the DLP had an event at the gymnasium. This is going back when, this is going back, put it that way. And I had went and called a number, actually. Like, we watching on TV, and it was something they had, for the youth or something like that. And they only kept showing the stage. I was trying to figure out why they're only showing the stage. This is crazy. Whole gymnasium. The gymnasium is huge. Big event stage, lights, band, music, all kind of stuff. So I told them, let me go up the road, man. So we hop in the ride, bam, we went over there. We got to the gymnasium. From the time we went past the aquatic center where they have I think that's what it's called, the pool and where they swim and stuff like that. The Olympics Aquatic Center. It was a whole lot of young people outside, like just having a whole different block party. I told about hundreds of young people outside, like, this is crazy. I figured the place was burst, nobody couldn't get inside. So we parked up, we had a conversation with the youth, how we do naturally. We all doing outside, y'all can get inside. And they that crowded, like, nah, and they're boring, it beer crap, da-da-da. They just had nothing to say good about it. Anyhow, we convinced them, look, come with us, man. We go around the building. We roll up inside the building. We walked in the building. The place was like empty. They had Steve. What's his name? The little short fella. I shouldn't say that, because that might be misinterpreted as me trying to shame people, body shaming or something. But men too emotional these days. You're real sensitive, man. Real sensitive. Stephen, Stephen. What's the other guy? Not Lashley. What's the other one, man? The other one. I think the other one, we leave it at that. Stephen something. Can't remember his name. Not Lashley. It was another one, though. But he was there with us. Bro, look, there was nobody inside the place. It was, they had the stage. There was nobody even in front. There was nobody. It was empty. Like, just a few people scattered around. So we walked in with all these young people and brought the energy right back to the place, which, then they had a few giveaways. So a lot of young people, they had some free giveaways. So, of course, young people going for to get them things that was free. Unfortunately, it was the 6 packs of sweet drinks. Just give out 6 pack of sweet drinks, Fanta and all kind of thing. But anyhow, young people went for it. But my point was that because they didn't show the audience, I was wondering how come. And so I was wondering as well, why did not show the people supporting? Where are all the Democratic Labour Party supporters that claim that this is what they supporting? And Mr. Thorne would have known, he would have to know the kind of support that he's capable of generating. So if you know that you ain't getting support you generating, why push this agenda as if you got this whole support system in place? Make the sister feel she got that kind of backative, put her in the middle of a war against an adverse, I don't want to say enemy, but an opponent that is well stocked with reinforced troops, supplies, and the whole 9 yards. Now, of course, we could say David killed Goliath, but Israel didn't show up empty-handed. They had a whole set of army as well. It's just that they took the best warrior, the God-given sent warrior, to deal with the matter, and the matter was dealt with. What God did not do is send the few to deal with the many except for the Gideon's army. But don't forget, although they had Gideon's army, there still was an army. God chose from the army whom he wanted. It wasn't a case that this is all we had and let me see what could happen. So my thing is, I felt as though when I watched this little clip on some of the highlights, I could identify where the brother here, Mr. Derek, I mean, again, and a few other individuals and whatnot, making the comments about the whole jump up and stuff. We ain't even gonna get into all that. And Richard Seeley, I think his name is, come on, people, I mean, imitating. I'm going to guess that he was referring to Mr. Chad Blackman by the tone. It looked like a comedy show, man. It is an emotional campaign they ran. This reminds me of Frondell Stewart in 2018. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to say that. I would not, but I could say it. I would not be surprised if the campaign manager was not the campaign manager for the Frondell Stewart administration in 2018. They showed a lack of intent. They showed a lack of intention. 2018 election, for those who can remember, Ray Frondell Stewart and the whole DLP committee was on stage insulting women, making fun, making comments. It was a comedy show, Ronald Jones and all of them. All them old guards, man. It is obvious, right, that they took this young lady, who I suspect is genuine and sincere. So please don't think that I'm trying to put Miss Dujon on in a magnifying glass. I did that a while back last year when I asked her a few questions about what she meant about certain things. And that was it for me, just from clarity. But at this point, family, let's be honest, man. I don't think personally that they put the right components in place. So my question is, why? Mr. Thorne has positioned himself as the opposition. He has been given a platform as the opposition. The problem is all the individuals who claim they support the opposition, like, where were they at, man? Where was all these people? Where they was at? You know, where was it? I don't get it. You know, I don't get it. Anyhow, greetings to you too, Jackie. Greetings. Were he interested? Well, man, if he was interested, that's a good question. Maybe he wasn't. He said, but Rhonda, yeah, but I'm tall. Yeah, a lot of people don't know I'm tall. They think I'm short. They usually see me. They always tell me, you're a giant. I'm not sure why they say that, but I don't. Anyhow, greetings to you too, Telma. Greetings to everyone. Telma shout out to everyone that's watching, for sure. My thing though, right, family, like I said, is that we got to be honest, man. When I looked at a few of these conversations they were having, even the ones they did on live, when they had a whole desk set up, looked like they're having what's supposed to be a candid conversation, just back and forth at the table. I'm not a political strategist. By no means am I involved in politics. I am not a lawyer. I'm not none of those things. I'm just a regular individual who have lived life in certain capacities, been in certain situations. I've learned a few skills that I can recognize that something ain't right here. Something wasn't right. And again, a lot of things were said, a lot of things were exposed, and that's good. That's good to share, you know, what the other party is doing and what they're not doing. Yes, but what is also more important is not just to say what you promised to do, but to recognize the audience that you're currently speaking to. The politics, the old-time religion style politics, those days are gone. See, what politicians don't get is that in 2025, and what the DLP clearly don't get, that's why what happened. You're talking to people now who are no longer asleep. You're talking to Barbadians who are a bit more, to use a buzzword, woke. And therefore, you can't speak that kind of language. Language is important. That's why I said earlier, it may not seem that way to those who may not understand it, but the reality is, Mr. Thorne will notice, man, fortune will always favor those who are brave. Will always favor those who are brave. The DLP does not, in 2025, show any remnants, any symbol of bravery. It's as if they're just going through the motions. So while I see Ms. Dujon literally pouring her heart and energy into this whole mission, and again, I want to commend her for that. I want to commend Alex. I want to salute Alex for sure. And I want to say to Sister Miss Williams, keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. Because anybody who cares for a community, they don't just show up on the weeks before election, hours or days, whatever, before election, and then try to knock on doors. They be putting in work all the time, looking for ways to bring change to the community and help people in the community. So I commend y'all to keep up the good work. I think Ms. John said she's going to keep back at it from tomorrow, whatever. Look, man, support the sister as best you can in any way you can, because as far as I'm concerned, if she really want to make a difference, man, you might got to check your circle, Ms. Dujon. I'm going to tell you straight, because silence is not consent. And a lot of people who were saying all that, yeah, they went silent when it was time to step up. You on the battlefield, you on the front line. Yes, you had some folks around you, but think about it. Where was all the support? Because people bring the energy. Like if you have a house and nobody living in the house, after a while it starts to fall apart. It falls apart because there's no living energy. And when I say living energy, because we as the African people, we as those that were stolen, we are the energy beings, man. We're the energy beings. Felicia, you're supposed to understand the science. We are the energy beings. A lot of those old guards around you, a lot of these men affiliated, man, and they know what's going on. They know what's going on. Mr. Thorne said it. In fact, if I could find that clip, I would play it, man. I'm going to look for it too. I'm going to look for it. I think I'm definitely going to look for that. I'm definitely going to look for it. He said it. I'm going to play what he said, because he literally told you what time it is. For those who know, who know, who don't know, well, just don't know. But I'm going to play that one. I'm going to play that one. I got to play that one. But Ms. Dujon, was she betrayed? Yes. The support that was needed wasn't there. The folks that say they support Mr. Thorne, all these old guards, all this, with all their resources and their links and people, why they didn't show up, man? Where was it? Now, don't get me wrong. We're going to touch on Mr. Blackman too in a minute, because Chad might have won the by-election. He might have won that battle, but he lost the war. So although he won the battle, yes, he won the battle, but he lost the war. Make no mistake about it. He won the battle, but he lost the war. Now, what do I mean by that, right? What do I mean by that? I'm just looking for that video real quick. Yeah, I think this is the one here, but we're going to get to that in a minute. We can get to that one in a minute. Yes. Yeah, that's the one. We can get to that in a minute. Pause it real quick. Mike, let me check the comments real quick too, by the way. Pedro said, that seat difficult to the DLP to win. Well, there's nothing difficult, period. That's why I said, Pedro, yes, he won the battle, but Chad did not win that war. I'm going to tell you right now why I say that. Can anybody tell me how many people are registered to vote? Don't forget the list went wrong. So everybody got a copy of the list. Alex Mitchell got a list. Some folks got a list. People who were involved in the election would have obviously got a list. But Dujon has a list. How many people are registered to vote in St. James North? See, we're going to look at numbers. Notice that the paper did not tell you these things. They gave you what you needed to see. In fact, hold on. Let me play this. Let me do this one first. Let me do this one first. Let me share this one instead. I'm going to get back to that other video in a second. How do I do this here? Yeah. Let me do this one here first. This is how you know, right, family? This is how you know. This is how you know, man. Let me see if I can get a little closer without blocking the screen too much. Let me see if I can get this a little closer there, yeah. Dems in crisis. They got the nerve. Pedro, Dems in crisis. The Dems are in crisis. It's a fact. I mean, 2018, in fact, before 2018, because during the second, don't forget, the Dems got in power because of the charismatic energy of the gentleman that had transitioned while in office. And they won the seat back in 2008, I believe. And then, Frondel had to then pull it off. He got the prime minister seat by proxy. And then, the other election and then so on. But then, like I said, the what I saw personally in 2018 was that people who were going through the motion, so that's why they lost all the seats, because they weren't really campaigning to do anything. That was how it was set up. They lost that all because they showed no interest, none. And that was obvious to people who were looking at the energy aspect of things. And so from then till now, almost a decade, you're seeing the same kind of energy being brought forward. There's no energy present. None. They don't have the energy. I'm not sure what's the missing ingredient for them, but they don't have it. And it's obvious. So, yeah, them in crisis, but it's inevitable because them is in fact, hold on, let me clip on this and read this real quick. Hold on, Pedro. Let me get this piece real quick. Political pundits warn DLP must rebuild fast or risk demise. Opposition leader Ralph Torn and the DLP unsuccessful St. James North candidate following the by-election. This is the image they have up of the two of them. And you can always trust the media to find one of the worst pictures to post to grab your attention. They don't find one that looks good. They look for the worst one. Media is something else, man. But check this out. What it says here, this is by Emmanuel Joseph, by the way. Political analysts are predicting a bleak future for the Democratic Labour Party, warning that only listen to this carefully, family. This is the thoughts of others who are observing this as the experts. They claim to be the experts, the pundits. So anyhow, they said political analysts are predicting a bleak future for the Democratic Labour Party, warning that only new leadership and a strategic overhaul can bring the 70-year-old political institution back from the brink of collapse. One pundit is further anticipating that if the party fails to install a vibrant and appealing new leader by August, Prime Minister Mia Mottley could call a snap general election, a move that could push the DLP closer to collapse. They said this assessment came in the wake of Wednesday's by-election in St. James North, which resulted in a massive defeat for the party's candidate, Felicia Dujon, who scored only 468 votes of the Barbados Labour Party flag bearer, Chad Blackman, who scored basically 2,723 or 84% of the 3,231 ballots cast. Dujon votes fell 140 short of the one by the DLP candidate in 2022 general election, Charles Worrell. There's that guy again. So he got a bit more votes than her. Barely 140 votes more, which compared to 2,000 and change, 2,700 plus, nah. So my question tonight, family, is how many people are registered to vote in that constituency? Because according to what I was told, it's about a little over 8,000. But wait a minute then. Hold on. If it's about 8,000 people and Mr. Chad Blackman only got 2,723 to be exact, yes, he won the battle, but he lost the war. There are more people in St. James North that just decide they're going to stand on the side and wait for Barbados National Congress to get involved, because clearly they have no interest in neither BLP, Chad Blackman, or DLP, Felicia Dujon. Now, let's be fair. Maybe there's a case where some folks were not aware that it was a by-election. That's me being shady. And maybe there's some folks who didn't get information on the sister Dujon or Alex or the sister Miss Worrell, Miss Williams at the time to be more actively involved. Or it could be a case where they're more conscious and know that we're not giving our energy and synergy to no system or party that is from the colonial time. The DLP is a 70-year-old institution, which means that Barbados only, how old Barbados is? 57 years? Well, the DLP was around back in the colony as well. So this is my point. You're dealing with a whole different set of people. This is not back in days, Pedro. You live in Barbados, Ras, a lot of persons ignorant to politics. I don't get me wrong. That is obvious because folks who are enlightened to some degree, they don't get involved to the capacity where we see folks getting involved with the loyalty to the letters and t-shirts, as opposed to integrity and prosperity and development of a nation and the people. We, the people of this nation, our issue is that we do not have a government that represents us. We have a government that represents the colony. That is what they did before. That is what they're doing now. Both BLP and DLP. That's why Mr. Thorne and his crew, they don't have to put forward so much energy, because in reality, who are they representing? They tell you they represent you, but then you can see that that's not true. You can't see it. You can't see it. You still can't see it. That's why we've been having political ping pong from the inception. From the inception. Stolen and trade not stolen. The African hands ain't clean. Well, Pedro, you know, let me put it to you this way, man. We didn't lose. We haven't lost our lands and all that, you know. Let me bring this home. Like I said, he got 2,723 of the 8,000 plus people who are registered to vote. So I'm saying that to say perspective. This is perspective, family. This is perspective. Chad won the battle against Miss Dujon, Alex Mitchell, and Stephanie Williams. Yes, he won the battle. Chad Blackman did not win that war. There is a whole bunch of righteous people out there on another side of the fence watching, like, you know, someone had the nerve to tell me, well, those numbers aren't legit. They're probably, you know, they're probably less people than the amount that are registered to vote. I'm not going to get into if that is so or not. So what I would say is that I'm sure that there's more than, you know, even if it was 6,000 people, let's go with that, for example. Again, there's a large group of individuals, almost half, just give or take, that are saying, nah, we ain't about that. We ain't about that. And I guarantee you, even the ones that did go ahead and vote in favor of, once they become enlightened as to what's really going on, because understand it, some folks are just following blindly. Pedro said it. They're not aware. They're not aware. The demographics also play a part, for sure. Approximately 8,500 persons are registered, you see? Rassman, why you always picking on Torn Cheese, bread, man? Wait. Why I am always picking on Thorn? Look, my number on the screen, or you can call in, you know. You could call him, you want to call him, we can have a conversation. I am not picking on Ralph Thorn. I am merely highlighting the obvious. And if you can't see that I'm sharing a thought regarding the future of the Democratic Labour Party, who clearly needs leadership, you see, because a man is the leader, don't mean he got the skills to lead, you know. Because think about it. Ralph Thorn just crossed the floor. He just walked across the floor and became leader. But because he walked across, that's like, let me pick somebody else, man, just for fun. Just for fun. Let me see what was that guy name that was downtown as a minister back in DLP, man, for Bridgetown. There was a man in charge of Bridgetown back then. I don't remember his name at all. Anybody can remember his name under the DLP? Like, what was his name? Can't remember my name at all. He down there on Boxers Road somewhere on what was that? What was his name, man? Tudor Street. He had an office on there somewhere on Tudor Street. Somebody gonna gotta know his name, man. Let's like putting him in charge of the Democratic Labour Party. Like, there's certain people, right, that you could tell, like, nah, this guy, he ain't cut out for that. He ain't cut out for that. He ain't built for that. Todd, that's right. Patrick Todd, that's the man name. Like, where these folks disappear and go to? All them pay off. All them is pay off. Hearing is listening to what is said. Listening is hearing what isn't said. I give thanks to that one there, man. I give thanks to that one. That is definitely a big one on that one, man. Hearing is listening to what is said. Listening is hearing what isn't said. And that's the issue, man. That is the issue, right? That's the issue we're dealing with. Why you think them marking X are not a pass? Once you realize what's going on, I keep telling people the elections are a secret census to gauge the climate of the people. How many people are still under the spell? Because that's why you got to put the X as opposed to approving a check. X is wrong. X mark the spots. The any treasure map. You know, X is the wrong answer. So you voting for the wrong answer. You're going to have to take what you get. But understand, Patrick Todd, there's some folks you could tell, and I'm not saying that Mr. Thorne has not shown effective leadership, period. By the handling of that George Street situation, I don't know who is advising him. Y'all already know my position on that. Because, you know, it could have been dealt differently. Different. To be more successful, rather than dividing the house, he should have united the house. It may already have its splinters before he came, yes. But recognizing that, it would have been more important to him to bring them together than to splinter it further, unless that was the objective. And I could see you, Mr. Dilks. You might be too close to see what's really going on. You might go a step back a bit. You know, when you up on something, you just can't see it. But trust me, those who have eyes to see can see clearly, man. And those who have ears to hear, listen to what is not being said, and we hear it loud and clear. Loud and clear. So speaking of loud and clear, let me go ahead and put this one up here while I at it. Hold on. You say you're always picking on Thorne, right? You got one more thing to pick on. Let me pause this here real quick. Let me just get to it. See if I can get to it. Let me see if I can get to it, man. There's something that he said that is interesting, you know, and I definitely want to share it. Let me share this page here real quick as well. I definitely want to share it because I thought it was interesting. He also spoke about Abram Wilfred. Now, again, I totally agree with him on this, you know. Like, I totally agree with Mr. Thorne on this in terms of what happened with the whole Neil Rowe case, and Neil making a statement implying or suggesting or blatantly stating that this man got up on the stand and lied straight up and not a word. So yes, I agree. I call him Mr. Thorne him again. Now let me see if you're going to write a comment on this one. I agree. Something, right? But I've been telling y'all about Mr. Wilfred for how long? We had this whole conversation years ago, going back to the girls' industrial school and the boys' industrial school in St. Philip, that they amalgamated, spent all that money to redo this old Victorian concentration camp to stick our children for reform, to reform them. Think about it, right? To reform them, not to correct them and direct them, but to reform them, you know. But we ain't gonna have that conversation now because we've been discussed the gentleman by the name of Wilfred Abram. I mean, he went all into Miss Dujon history back to St. Lucia, making comments about her name and stuff back then. I mean, all that is part of politics. They're gonna dig up your stuff and put it out there, but they're not giving you what you need. They're telling you what you need. They're telling what you want to hear. They tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. So let me play this clip real quick, if this is the one. Hold on, let me make sure this is the one for sure.
I have held my tongue for a long time because I respect the church. And they call some names tonight. Call George Bell and ask him if he ever talked about that. Call Devon Bruce and ask him if he ever talked about that. Influencers. All they are just people who tell lies. And they put me on this, they hate some parliamentary committee. I don't know if $2,000 or something or $3,000 extra a month. And all I had to do is go in parliament and sit down and look at Nero. Poor Arthur. He didn't have the stomach for it. He did not have the stomach for the war. Y'all know how he died, right?
Keep your damn mouth shut.
I can leave that one there for a minute. I'll leave that one there for a minute.
Abrams, never again, as long as you live, extend your hand to me in
Moments later.
Let me go back here first. Let me go back here first. Just real quick. Real quick. Now, a lot was said, like I said, but if you ain't paying attention, you ain't gonna pick it up. I can drop this and say this here real quick, man.
Wilfred Abrams, never again, as long as you live, extend your hand to me in public nor private.
When I first heard that statement, right, that jumped out to me so loudly. And this is what I'm talking about, family. When it comes to politics, man, like we as a people, we don't, like Pedro said earlier, Barbadians, people at that level don't have a clue what going on. When he made that statement that night and I heard that, that echoed so loud, like, wait, miss, don't extend your hand to me. And I can play that again, man. I can play that again. Let me go to the comments real quick and answer the question if y'all paying attention to this thing.
Insulting.
A few moments later.
Wilfred Abrams, never again, as long as you live, extend your hand to me in public nor private.
In public nor private ever again. Once you live and do it, extend your hand to me. What that mean, family? Anybody know what that means? What does that really mean, man? What does it really mean? This is why I'm going to tell you right now, Mr. Jilks, why I ain't picking on Ralph Torn. Ralph Torn is a man. If Ralph Torn feel a way about it, he could come on the program and speak for himself. You function like a cheerleader, no, man. I know I ain't picking on Ralph. I ain't picking on Ralph. So Ralph calling. I'd like to answer the question what he meant by that. Because again, we can't keep our brother. You see your brother slipping, you ain't gonna tell him, yo, man, yo, get it together. You gonna let him slip. You ain't gonna say nothing. You're gonna be silent. Silent is no longer consent. It is betrayal. And you should say something if something needs to be said. That's Ezekiel 3. In fact, Ezekiel 3 said, if you see your brother going astray, you should warn him. It's to warn your brother. Because once you warn him, you're good. If you ain't warn him, that's at you. That's at you. That's providing your brother going astray. And you ain't spreading propaganda because you're trying to make your light look brighter than your brother because of jealousy. That's another story. You know what I'm saying? You could ask what was it? It was the brother went with their soul into slavery, the sold the brother into slavery. Joseph, the fellow with the many coats. Sometimes people don't like your coat, man. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be mindful, man. But let me get here real quick. Ralph gets sent to this man. It said that Ralph gets sent to this man to the DLP, in my humble opinion, them agent. I like how you put that. It makes sense, right? Implying stating to be precise. To be precise, Pedro, really? A comedy show, not addressing the real issue. That's my other point too. Nobody, well, they spoke about a few things. They spoke about the elderly, what they consider the elderly or the vulnerable in the society. Barbados vulnerable as a whole country, period. It's a vulnerable state. Why? Because we depend on foreign exchange. We depend on food from outside. We depend on everything except our own. We don't have a sense of self-sustainability, self-sovereignty. We don't promote that like that. We promote this thing called democracy or the illusion of democracy. It's a fool's autocracy for the plantocracy and the slaveocracy. Too much of that other stuff in there, man. Too much mix up of metals, man. Mix up moves and attitudes, man. The veil has been lifted. We are no longer asleep. Talk it, man. Talk it, family. Talk it. Talk it. That's what I'm talking about, man. Let me put some hands on that one for sure. That's why they can't preach this religious politics and emotional politics to people who are no longer sleeping. See, they were talking to the sheeple. The DLP campaign was to address the sheeple. Mr. Thorne is outdated. He's unaware, uninformed, and out of touch. And that is obvious based on the performance. He made that statement to Mr. Wilfred Abrams. Well, that wasn't nothing. That was a very serious professional statement. That wasn't nothing to sleep on. I might, would it mean, I just going, nothing to see here. Pedro, behave, man. Ralph Torn is simply say to Wilfred Abram, I appreciate you, absolutely. Not most predominantly. Well, the term, right? Let me drop a little science here. Let me drop some science here real quick. Now, we all know that Mr. Ralph Torn does not correct the title KC that's attached to his name on any platform. They announce him as such. The media present that paper, Parliament, they all post him as King's Counsel. Now, I said this when he first crossed over, when he went across the floor, that, you know, until if he drops that, that might give him a little credibility. He hasn't dropped it. So when he addresses himself and defines himself as a King's Counsel, again, Barbadians, the DLP, the leadership of the DLP identifies himself as a counsel to the king. The leader of the Democratic Labour Party identifies himself as a counsel to the king. Please ask him which delusional kingdom he's a part of, because Barbados doesn't have a king unless he's a counsel to me. And he's certainly not my counsel. Wait, you just call yourself the king of Barbados? Yes. Yes, I just said it. Yeah, I just said it. So so this is who you're looking at. This gives us an idea how this man thinks. Just like people who watch this program, for those who do watch the program, they get an idea of how Emmanuel thinks to some degree. Because seeing a man is not knowing a man. But at least I come on here and I share my honest views, a little comedy in between, but ain't nothing funny. Because I just have my thoughts, how I see it is like my point of view. And I'm thinking, but Mr. Thorne, with all due respect though, I mean, how you say you're a King's Counsel, you don't even correct folks. You have never denounced that, to my knowledge. Let me just put that net right there, because perhaps you have, and perhaps people still call you that. But which king are you counseling? I would like to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Tell us. Because when you say to Mr. Wilfred Abram, a colleague of yours who's also a part of the fraternity that you are a part of, I mean, they're all part of the same fraternity, as a King's Counsel, though, there's some things that, you know, that statement has a different meaning, a very different meaning. So, you know, this is quite interesting. Oh, what a tangled web we weave, man. Pedro, if you only, Ralph needs to work on his Commonwealth, work in the Commonwealth. That's why the KC stands at C. You only work here. Barbados is still a member of the Commonwealth. Symbolism means, okay, well, guess what? I don't know if his loyalty is to the Commonwealth of the Kingdom of England, or to the people of Barbados, or the Republic of Barbados, or the nation of Barbados, or the corporation known as Barbados. But again, family, this is the man who is running the Democratic Labour Party. This is why the Democratic Labour Party is in the position it is in, and will continue to be a vessel adrift that is slowly taking on water. And in time, you will see it will indeed be a sinking ship. There's almost at this point no coming back for the Democratic Labour Party, so long as the leadership is what it is. And that does not question. You see, this is why I'm trying to help you understand. People act, now don't get me wrong, Ronnie Yera wasn't a better leader by any chance, any stretch of the imagination. I'm not even suggesting that. That's for the record, because that's a whole other conversation. You cannot send a lamb to do a lion's job, and the two of them combined lack the testicular fortitude to elevate the people of this nation to the level of consciousness that is required. They both can do it intellectually, perhaps through their field and their studies, but unfortunately, we're not living on the Pisces, and they both are preaching a Pisces philosophy. We're living in the age of Aquarius. That's where we are. And they do not speak the language of the Aquarians. Simple. Miss Motley is barely touching it at best on her own. But the other folks within her circle don't even come close to, remotely close to even scratching the surface of that. Perhaps one or two, maybe. The rest, on borrowed time, they're riding on the skirt tail, literally. Well, sorry, pardon me. They're riding on the pants hem on Miss Montley. And the minute she steps off that particular space, man, look, Barbados is going to be up for grabs. But at that point, you're going to see the emergence of some new faces, man, different individuals. And you know how we like new people, new things. Y'all don't believe me? Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. I'm going to tell you some more real quick. We didn't lose our lands. Look around Barbados. There's plenty land left, right, and center. What Barbadians as a people have lost is our minds. We have lost our minds. We have bought into a system that does not support us as a people or the agenda of our children or our children's children. It's the illusion of inclusion. That's why nobody got up on that platform. I really spoke to real issues. Mr. Derek Allen begging and pleading like, come on, man. Where's your sense of dignity? Where's your sense of honor to stand up there bravely and boldly, courageously? I would add another word, but I don't want to be misquoted as saying something I don't know. But in fact, it became apparent that sometimes man becomes inebriated, perhaps with his own ideas and drunken off his own thoughts and emotion. Because right now, like I said, Ms. Dujon, and it's obvious to me, they put her in a situation that she wasn't prepared to deal with, and they did not give her the reinforcements that she needed. But the good thing about it is she fought willingly, valiantly, if that's the right word. I give her credit for that. I don't even know if amongst them, they could find somebody else who could do even better. Maybe they should make her leader of the party and see what happened. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? At this point. At this point. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. He said, Rastaman, you got talk? Nah, I ain't got the talk. I don't even be on them kind of vibes, man. Ain't no talk. You came on here and you share your thoughts. I share my thoughts. We just exchanging thoughts, bro. Hitting a talk, just exchanging thoughts. Tell me say, agree on that. That is what the gentleman get when Mr. Thorne gets when he get his award, Casey. Don't you know that you fool King's Council? That is what that means. Wait, hold on a minute, Judy. I'm misunderstanding you here a minute. That is what the gentleman gets when Mr. Thorne gets when he get his award, Casey. Don't you know that you fool King's Council? That is what that means. I am sorry, miss. I'm sorry. I'm not sure there's a relation between you and the brother. Y'all share the same last name, but just observation. Yeah, I'm very much aware that KC stands for King's Council. I'm very much aware of that. Thanks for sharing that, though, by the way. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. That wasn't my point, wasn't what it meant. My point was that we no longer have a king to be counseling. That was my point. And so if we don't have a king to be counseling, then how is he still a King's Council? In fact, to be quite honest, when Barbados became a republic, the title he would have had at that time would have been Queen's Council, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think she had passed away as yet. She passed away sometime after. And after she passed away, when we were a republic, is when himself and others, adopted the title. But in reality, Miss Jilts, the King's Council, like the real King's Council, do not recognize anyone in Barbados calling themselves King's Council at the level of the bar in England. That's not recognized. If you're unaware of that, you can actually go back to my archives. I did an interview with a King's Council from England who spoke to that at the time. So, but feel free to go check that out. Barbadians need to know the prime doesn't have any interest in them. The prime servant It would sell. If you would sell your soul for 300, that is a different level, man. The by-elections, right? Greetings and Godspeed. Greetings, my brother. Greetings to you and the family. Greetings, greetings. Well, will you stupid? That is what you is. Well, again, sis, I apologize if you misunderstand me. My apology, and I'm sorry you misunderstand me, and I apologize that I put you in a position where you need to write that. But that's all right. I understand. I fully get it. I fully get it. I know a lot of people are connected to the DLP, and it must be an emotional thing to see to see what's going on. I understand what cognitive dissonance is. I fully get it. And again, it is not me, I'm just observing what's going on and realize that we as a people, we have lost our minds, family. Trust when I tell you, we have lost our minds, man. And so it is obvious when we put our faith in ministers to come to our rescue like that. Barl has something he wrote once. What kind of mirror image you see for yourself? And I always go back to that because, again, everybody quick to promote DLP El Barrel. Fine. But he was asking you, what kind of image do you have of yourself? Do you have an image of yourself where you sit back and you follow blindly what is clearly obvious of somebody leading you astray? Or do you actually have the testicular fortitude to stand up and say, hold on a minute, that's not quite right. That's not quite right. And I oppose that. Do you have that agenda? Can you actually say that? Do you will that for yourself? Right now, this whole battle about BLP, DLP, politics, the battle is for your mind. That's why they go on a platform and they speak to you, because they need you to hear what they're saying so they can capture what? So they can capture what? Not your vote. Your vote is an indication that they've captured your mind. The battle is for your mind. Miss Jilks, the battle is for your mind. Brother man, the battle is for your mind, man. It's for your mind. We have lost our mind as a people. That's what's going on. If we connect with those who came before us, we'd recognize, and I said this before, the BLP and the DLP are both colonial parties. They're both part of the colonial system. So I don't understand what's the issue here. I don't get it. I don't mind people coming on here and trying to insult me. You can call me whatever you want to call me. Is what I answer to. I answer to Rastafari is what I answer to. That's it. All that other stuff. I get it, man. I get it. I just want you to recognize, family, you feel some type of way because that's your spirit inside telling you that something ain't right. So I understand why you upset with me, because I'm speaking truth to power. So that spirit inside you that they capture your mind is that ain't settled right now. I ain't settled. I ain't settled at all, but I thank you, man. In a society that's based on lies, right? You can do anything. Thelma just said it. Where that going again? Wait, let me see where it going, Thelma. Thelma just had it up there. I didn't see where it going, Thelma. Hold on a second. I just saw that comment. Here it is. She said, if you could sell your soul for $300, that is a different level. It most certainly is a different level. But again, family, in a society that's based on lies, you can do anything. Barbados is such a society. It's based on lies. A lot of what you think is true is not true. A lot of these plantations, I said, in Barbados, were not owned by white folks in England. They were owned by folks who look just like you. They ain't going to tell you that, though. We're going to keep preaching this slave narrative. You were slaves. We were never slaves. We were never, ever, ever slaves. Go Google the word slave, the etymology of the word slave. In fact, here's a question. Can anybody tell me what the word slave means right now? What does the word slave mean? What does the word slave mean? Come on, somebody tell me. Ralph Torrance said these are influencers. Right now, the whole society is being manipulated by an unseen influencer. It's an energy. Look around you. See the youth behaving. People dropping down left, right, and center. Just, what they call it? Sudden death syndrome, or some crazy term, some new term. You know what I'm saying? People abandoning the elderly at the hospital in a complete disarray. Nurses short, teachers is a whole different conversation. Listen, man, you got people afraid to speak truth in Barbados. The amount of people I see that come and tell me things, man, they'd be like, yo, why you gonna come and say this? I cannot be, boy, I ain't wanna lose my little pick. People are afraid. Imagine people are afraid to lose what they get in the society for fear of getting a quote unquote backlash by the unseen influencer, the energy. Imagine God's people being afraid. Who should you fear more? Not he that can destroy both body and soul. Can't fear who can destroy the body. You need to fear who destroy both body and soul. That's where the fear should really be sitting. But nah, got the place, man. Colonialism is alive and well. Don't forget, it's alive and well. Barbadians need to wake up and stand up. That's what it is. That's why the voter turnout is getting less and less and less. Barbadians are waking up, Thelma. Barbadians seeing what's going on. The youth seeing what's going on. Of course, they got some trapped in the cyberspace. We get it. That's going to happen. But slowly but surely, majority of the people waking up, family. That's why programs like this and the other individuals who come online, you know, folks tuning in and paying attention. Don't mind the numbers on the views and stuff. Trust me, they manipulate that in ways I can't even begin to tell you, man. I mean, the things I see from this side as the creator, as the owner of the pages, is like, really? People only knew. So don't mind that. Make sure you get the message and tell a friend to tell a friend. That's how we're going to do this, because you cannot stop an idea whose time has come, and it's that time. Correct is right, Thelma. None of the political leaders in Barbados has an easy road. It's a fact, all lose in their first attempts, but some were persistent and achieved their objectives. Those that are lucky to be projected by their leaders must appreciate and count their blessings. I like that again. I'm going to say that last part, Elder. Those that are lucky to be projected by their leaders must appreciate and count their blessings. Ms. Jujon has been put in a position where she has had an experience that is invaluable. It's invaluable. You can't buy it at all. And what she does with that knowledge now will determine how far she goes. Simple as that. There's much more on the road up ahead. There's much more on the road to Damascus, Miss Dujon. Remember, there's much more up ahead on the road to Damascus. I sincerely hope that resonates with you. You would like to be somebody king. Nobody wants you to be a leader anyway. Okay, well, Judy, again, that's all right. I thank you for sharing again. I thank you for at least paying attention, you know, at least that much. But, you know, in between your comments, I want to answer you a question. You know, what do you think right now that Barbados needs in order to help build a better future for our children, other than just changing the political party who in charge? Give me an idea, Ms. Judy. Give us a thought you have that will help, you know, deal with the issue of crime in Barbados, that kind of stuff, or the elderly, or the water, or the food. Give us a thought what you think would be a good idea to implement. That something I could focus on, something I could speak on, and focus more on that. Give me an idea what you think would be necessary, you know, to bring Barbados to another level. Bring that BNC for scrutiny. Yeah, for sure. Sure. I love it, Pedro. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it, man. So very true, Emmanuel. So very true. Yes, we were slaves, you fool. Again, I thank you. Do me a favor, Judy. Go look up slaves and check. We were enslaved. The word slave, it basically is, you know, hard work, or working someone hard, you know, because you think about it. That's why, you know, it's supposed to emancipate yourself from mental slavery, from mentally enslaving yourself to be tied to hard work. We don't have to be like that. We were enslaved. We were never slaves, you know, and that's just something that, you know, you're going to learn today, Judy. You stick around. We're going to make a leader out of you. We're going to make a leader out of you. You sound like you have the characteristics to be a very good leader. You seem outspoken. You seem deliberate with your words. And that's good. That's good. We just have to add some more information to the repertoire, and we go from there. They were property, not slaves. Okay, Pedro. No, don't jump in here, Pedro. Otherwise, you liable to be, let me take the heat. But yes, Judy, we were never slaves. Slaves come from the Slav people. Okay, but Pedro, go ahead and teach. I was giving her homework, Pedro. Let her go do her homework. Go look up the etymology of the word slave, Judy, and understand where we're going with this, man. You can't see you only got 87 people on your show. Yeah, Gideon's army only needed 300. We don't need 33,000. 4 quarters, over 100 pennies all day, every day, Judy. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we at, The Navy SEALs don't have the whole army. It's the special ops people we dealing with here. This is special ops page. Let me stop, man. But Judy, I like your vibe, though. I like your energy. If that's really your name and page, I like your energy, man. And when the numbers on the bottom right there, you could always send me a WhatsApp message. We could dialogue some more. Maybe I could share some of my thoughts with you, and vice versa. We could kick a dialogue and go from there. Where we at here? Rumor has it that 300 was the reparation payoff. If that is so, do they really feel people want anything to do with them? Well, I hear a lot of rumors, Andrea, to be honest with you, about the money, and it was more money, and they kept their money and only get a little bit of money. Look here, man. I know that reparation cannot come before a redress of grievance. There are a number of things that would have to happen before reparation money is actually handed out in any capacity. So we got to start looking for that and realize that we got to chart our own way forward. If the people still doing to you what they've been doing to you, how they gonna pay you out for doing it if they're still doing it? You follow me, Andrea? That's why you always tell people, man, let's stay focused. Let me see if I can find that other link real quick. That's why the education system is the way it is. That's why the religious system is the way it is, because it isn't necessarily to help, it's to change things, make you think things are changing, make you think you have the option of choice, but there's no choice. That's why they have to give you the two, BLP, DLP. There's no choice. The real choices is Alex Mitchell and Stephanie Williams. That's the real choice. There's no choice in DLP versus BLP. Hold on. Barbados need the DLP better. Pardon me a second, Judy. Pardon me. Barbados need the DLP better party to lead this Barbados. The DLP is for the people, not the BLP. Well, you know what? I follow you, Judy, and I used to think the same thing. Don't get me wrong. I used to think the very same thing. But I was involved in the youth program. We did work. On the both administrations. I can tell you firsthand, man, none of the two, so to Hamilton last year, by the way, none of the two really showed an interest in helping the youth. Not the way I feel as though they should have. But then again, I'm not into elected politics, not a minister. Maybe there are things going on behind the scene that I'm not aware of that cause people who are in position to make a difference, make different decisions. So as far as what's better for Barbados, DLP versus BLP, what I think, Judy, is people like you is who better for Barbados. People who are not afraid to speak what's on their mind, to say truthfully how they feel. So though I accept what you're saying, I think that more people need to speak, but not just say that DLP is better because DLP is for the people. Show how the DLP is for the people. Indicate where DLP has done that indicate that they're better for the people. And the BLP, as far as I'm concerned, they both support the plantocracy. People are not enriched under any of the two governments. The most we get is more taxes, and more taxes. The so-called infrastructure that they create isn't for our comfort. It's for theirs. There are people in Barbados who are still struggling, have been struggling for years, decades under both administration. So I don't know if I agree with you totally. I agree that the people of Barbados need to come together, organize amongst themselves, better form of governance, the nation of Barbados. But as far as politics, the DLP ain't going through anything yet, as they doesn't have any candidates that can be considered as at prospective and MPS ministers, MPs. Sorry about that. 1971, the BLP had a superb team of young candidates, but the electorate thought that they were inexperienced, and only 6 seats the party received. But 1976 they came through with this with the theme "No More Tricks in '76." I like the elder, man. The elder be giving us the history, you know what I mean? And this is what we're supposed to look back and learn from the different lessons that happened before. Keep your mouth off Ralph Thorne, Mr. Jix. Sorry, keep your mouth off of Ralph for Mr. Jix. Yeah, I gonna leave her alone, Pedro. I like you as a fool. I like the energy, man. It's all right. It's all right. Respect your discipline. Man, brethren, Rastafari who guide I and I. You don't know how it go, man. Simple as that, man. But I like the BLP has the churches wrapped around their fingers. Say that again, Talman. Say that again, man. Say it again, man. That's what's going on, man. That's why they all ministers, because the battle is for the mind. I keep saying it. That's why they get in, they talk and talk and talk. You know, the battle is for your mind, man. I tell people all the time, they may have abolished slavery. Think about it. They abolished slavery. What they did not do was abolish the slave master. They didn't abolish the plantation. Neither did they abolish the slave. I can say that again. I know a lot of folks gonna miss that. Judy, where you at? They abolished, according to you, they abolished slavery, which basically means they abolished hard or working people too hard. That's what that was. But they did not abolish the slave master. Neither did they abolish at the time what they considered the slave. I tell folks, emancipation, when they say they emancipated the Africans, those who were enslaved or the prisoners, is when they created servitude mentally as people who were then slaves mentally. Because up to now, I tell you, the people who were on the plantations working as slaves, and the people who were in charge are the same people today, Judy, who are working hard, and the ones that did the enslaving are the ones that working the slaves hard, or those who were enslaved. Nothing has changed, Judy, just the illusion of inclusion. How will Alex and Stephanie get funding for Barbados? Put in an X, I guess that's an XI or X typo. That's a good question, Pedro. How will they get funding for Barbados? You know, funding is a funny thing, Pedro, because the way funding works in government, they tell you it's too taxation. But I beg to differ. I'm not into politics, like I said, to know the run-ins. But think about it. On the plantation, there were no taxes for the people on the plantation. There were more people on the plantation back then than exists right now in Barbados as a population. In fact, there was over twice as many people who were enslaved. According to them, let me use this word, elder. According to them, there were more people enslaved in Barbados back then. And none of the enslaved were paying taxes at all. But yet the society was allowed to strive, grow, and develop in a major way, in abundance. In fact, we empowered and enriched the entire British Empire. How they did that? By simply using agriculture and what they considered free labor. But wait a minute. So you mean to me agriculture can bring in enough resources to empower financially and help sustain an empire and still run a whole colony or a few? So Pedro, your question is profound, but the Barbados National Congress have an answer for that. And the answer is agriculture. Agriculture. You put every man and jack who is able to work. And in exchange, you feed the people. So basically you get all the guys off the block, all the women, all the folks in the community, those who especially who are not working. And what is required is 3 or 4 hours out of you on a daily basis, whether in the morning. I'm giving you the plan. I'm giving you part of the plan, Pedro. I'm getting the whole plan. But part of the plan is 3 or 4 hours. Let's say 4 hours. If you don't have education, well, let me phrase that. If you don't have basic English and math skills, Well, you got to go in class to do that. You got to learn English and math, basic communication skills, not emotional tantrums. You get upset with someone, you want to call them names and lash out. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're using education to bring your emotions into subject, because you got to learn how to govern yourself. So because you think something, don't mean you should say it. You got to learn to control yourself, man, through governance. So we're teaching governance and also English and math. You got to learn to read and write. You got to learn to communicate. You got to learn to count. But you also got 4 hours to work on the farm in some capacity. So we're going to feed you for free. So you got to buy food. You get to eat for free. You get to eat for free. Imagine that. So we feed the people in the society. So once we start feeding the society, Pedro, we could then look at empowering the society again to develop more crops, more foods, to create our own trade, whether regionally or internationally. There's where resources come in, through agriculture. There's a lot of money. And just for the record, Judy, the farmer is king, right? I guarantee she get back the 300 already. You mean Judy? Nah, don't do that, tell me, man. Leave Judy alone. Greetings, family. Greetings to you, the matriarch moms. Greetings to you all day, every day. Greetings to my sister from another mother. You know how it is. Give thanks. At Pedro, the people don't want rhetoric. They want money. That's why they offer $300. Well, you know, Sean, being realistic, $300 in the money. It depends on the value of the $300. $300, a lot of money, perhaps in 1930. But in 2025, $300 does not have the same monetary value as it once did. So I don't know if we could classify that fiat currency, that legal tender, as money, because that is not what that is. We were prisoners of war on our own land. Till this day, the scripts ain't changed. All BLP, DLP, 2 heads, 1 tail. We stuck in the middle. Thanks very much, Pam, for sharing that information. Let it be known. Greetings to you, Tim. Greetings to you too, Tim. Good night. It's a retired old man. Just woke up. Nah, you're no old man. Young at heart, man. Young at heart. Willie Lynch letters. I see folks coming on in. Come on in, man. Come on in. We have some guests here tonight with us, joining us. We want to thank all those who came on and sharing their thoughts as well. We appreciate you. If they didn't abolish the masters, why worry about KC or SC? Well, that's a good question, Pedro, because the idea is that we're not worried about them. But again, people in the society who at this point should be aware are not aware. So we're bringing this conversation to the table to make people aware. It's about awareness, because if you do not know who is leading you, then you don't know where they're leading you. And if your leader is still a king's council, then trust me, the only place he's leading you, Pedro, is back on the plantation. You don't believe me? Ask him a question. When I was a fake, when it was the fake pandemic, the churches backed down and was the very last to open back. So the biggest problem is the greedy churches. A lot of church support politicians because, don't forget, the church, and I hate to say this, man, this is not an indictment against my Christian brothers and sisters, but the church is how they promoted the enslavement and enslaving the minds of the people. The church is how they did it. They give the church the ability to speak to the people, because don't forget, back then you couldn't gather in groups. You start talking this other way, to cut out your tongue, man. But they allowed the black man or the black man to meet in the barns and start to speak to the people, to obey this, obey that, do this and do that, and you shall receive blessings from your Lord and Savior. This is on the Daddy Plantation, so we understand what's going on, family. The DLP is for the poor. The BLP is for the rich. What can the independents do? Well, Judy, that is a very good question. I love that question. I tell you, I love your train of thought, man. You will make a fine leader, you know, Judy. It's because the wisdom of someone is known not by their answers nor their comments, Judy, but by their questions. And this is a very powerful question. He said the DLP is for the poor, the BLP is for the rich. What can the independents do? And I agree with you, Judy. What can an independent candidate do? I'll tell you what they can do. Absolutely nothing. Unless they have the backing and the support, full 100 support of all the people who say they actually support them. Not like some platforms that say they support you, but when you go out to the front line, you can't see a fraction of the people that say they support you. They're missing in action, which is fine because perhaps they're in the trenches flanking. But when it's time to show up, like on election day for Mr. John and the DLP party, the flank's supposed to show up on the battlefield. If they don't show up, you can't trust them, Judy. We don't need funding. We need to go back to the real facts, spam. Judy, careful now. Careful now. The planters pay the taxes. We say that they pay the taxes, but think about it. What taxes were they paying? Because if they were paying that many taxes, think about it. They were given reparations in the tunes of millions. This day and age, it would be billions in compensation. So understand, it was a gimmick. It wasn't paying taxes on hundreds of thousands of people. Nah, that's not how that game went down. That's what they told us, Pedro. That's not how that game went down. The way the government makes money right now is all for your birth certificate, Pedro. You know that. You know that good enough. Not because of your taxes. That's how they falsely enslave you as a people. They enslave us by by telling us the illusion of inclusion. Yeah, pay your taxes. Pay your taxes. Nobody's checking for the taxes, though. The illusion of inclusion. The land's still right there, Pedro, waiting for the people to come and take care of it, man. The DLP just can't wait until elections to showcase their prospecting candidates. The party must organize meetings where they can showcase the talents of prospecting candidates as they must connect to the electorate. You just can't wait until a few weeks before an election to establish yourself. Lots of planning and listening to people with ideas can be the help. Can be of help. Able yourself and the presence of the electorate will provide. You know what? I agree in part, Elder. Yes, lots of planning and listening to the people with ideas can definitely help. But I'll tell you what, like I said earlier, man, Barbadians are a bit more aware than before. And the kind of politics that I've seen the DLP practice, even the BLP too, like I said, ain't but one or two, maybe three, that's stretching it, on those platforms are speaking Aquarius language. The rest is all Pisces. That world order is done. That's done. We on the world on the new order, man. Those who know. Those who don't know about to find out, man. Like I said, this war is for the minds. It's over. The battle is for the minds. Your consciousness as individuals who vibrate on a conscious level, the mind of God. That's why the Bible says, let that mind that in Christ be also in you by the renewing of your mind. The problem is Barbadians have not renewed their mind. They still under that old time religion. You don't believe me? Ask Mr. Thorne. They all on that old time. They still preaching that old time religion. Nah, that time is gone, family. It's not coming back. Not coming back at all, man. So, anyhow, I've been on here for a minute. It's an hour and a half. I didn't plan to be on here this long. Oh, man. You know what? Let me say this first of all. Mr. Thorne crossed the floor several times, right? And in some countries, in fact, in a lot of countries, see, Barbados accept that as okay. That's the illusion. In some countries, you're not allowed to, well, you wouldn't cross the floor. If you disagree with the party you're in, you simply resign. As a matter of integrity, I don't support this anymore. I'm just going to go away. I'm not going to just switch sides and go against the people I was running with because I just want to switch sides. Because think about it. Before you switch sides, you was against the people you now running with. And I played enough clips to indicate that Mr. Thorne has switched sides a few times. He's a man that is uncertain of his own destiny. And that's not an insult. That's me suggesting that Mr. Thorne has to do a bit of soul searching on his road to Damascus. Perhaps I'm his Ananias. Look within, Mr. Thorne. Look deeper within, a bit more deeper than you've been looking. Because I'm not sure if the people around you have your interests at heart. You know, I'm going to play this for you, Mr. Thorne.
Somebody advising you wrong.
Wrong, man, wrong.
They can't be your friends and your allies when they're advising you wrong.
They can't be a friend of your ally, Mr. Thorne. They can't be a friend of your ally, Mr. John, if they're advising you wrong. Take a deeper look at what's going on consciously and realize the time we're living in. Y'all, I don't profess it. Y'all profess to be Christians. Y'all speak that language. Me, Rastafari. I see it from afar. I'm going to tell you all this, man. Y'all got to go deeper within your own consciousness. We're living in a whole new world. In fact, Jesus in the Bible said to you to go down the road, right? You're going to see a man bearing a pitcher of water. He said to follow him. He said to follow him, enter into his house, and he shall reveal all things. DLP, BLP too, don't get tight with it. Daytime coming. Daytime coming too, don't get tight with it. Y'all gonna see that, man. It's a new day. Go tell a friend and tell a friend, man. Go tell a friend and tell a friend. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. Wait. I think I missed a few comments here. Deception is an art. Pedro, know what's going on, man. Jones Plantation and the conversion with the devil. Check that out. Okay, wait. We got homework here, family. Let me write that down. Let me take a picture, otherwise let me go back to that. Jones Plantation, the conversion, the conversation. Yeah, Jones Plantation and a conversation with the devil. Check that out. Okay. We've been given homework, family. Go check that out. Taxes are the petty cash. It's so true, Andrew. Wait, how you doing so good? Taxes is petty cash, man. Taxes go someplace different. We think it going into the coffers that run the country. That's an illusion, man. They trick you with the birth certificate. They make money off of you. They make money off you. Trading stocks and bonds, man. Trading stocks and bonds, man. You know, I meant in the 17s. Okay, I got you. Taxes have and have never been to help us. We were tribes. Taxes was done by the invaders to enrich themselves and have a class system. Well, it's still got the class system. Well, it's called a political class now, though. $300. $300 is nothing to the Barbadian. Guyanese get $1. Sorry, hold on. Let me get it right. $300 is nothing to the Barbadian. Guyanese get $1,000. I want $1,000 too. Listen, Judy, I don't know who you are, right? But I definitely like how you thinking, man. Well, it would have been better to give the people $1,000, I suppose, but to get more votes turn out. I don't know. But my point is, Judy, let me ask you a question. You had questions for me all night. Let me ask you a question now, Judy. Do you think, Judy, that there's any amount of monetary value that they can give you at this point as a descendant, one of the ones that have been stolen and oppressed, marginalized, subjugated, ostracized, disenfranchised, all the things you could think of happened to your family, your ancestors that brought you to this point? You think there's any amount of money they could give you to restore what was done to people? Really? Yes, when they talk money, I do believe they should have to pay for it. But I don't know if I agree to giving people money in hand. I agree to better infrastructure. and the means to build our own society and community, rather, not society, but build our own community and rebuild our own nation, I think that, in terms of reparation, is where you start that conversation. As far as just giving people money in society, all they're going to do is what most people did with that $300, which is to go and pay a bill. So they're going to take that money and go and give it right to the plantocracy. Rather give it to courts, K. Shepherd, put it in gas in the car, buy a gas bottle, buy some clothes, pay a light and power, pay a water bill, pay a phone bill, pay the debt collector, pay the coolie man. Most people are going to take that money, Judy, and give it right back. So that's my issue with that, Judy. Not issue as in I have an issue with it, because, I mean, some folks might really need that to buy a little food that can help them stretch this week and give them a little time to catch yourself, right? So don't get me wrong. I just think it's insulting, man. But for some folks, it might be a lifesaver, you know. But the question is, even if it's a lifesaver, Judy, even if it was a lifesaver for some, because people can say, well, they had nothing before, you know. Even if it was a lifesaver, Judy, the question here now would be, who put their life on the line in the first place that they would need it saving with $300? That is the real question, Judy. How come their life was on the line? Serious. It said thorn crossed once. Pedro, that's true, Pedro. I don't know if that's true, Pedro. I don't know if that's true, Pedro. I don't know you to be a man that's spreading disinformation, Pedro. You're not known to be a man that spread disinformation. So correct disinformation for me, or correct me if I'm in error. Because to my knowledge, he crossed more than once. To my knowledge, yeah. But check it and let me know. Don't forget, Thorn go back to in the 80s sometime. I don't think he was a BLP then. But he was a BLP then he went DLP, then he went BLP, then he went back DLP, if I'm not mistaken. But check it out and let me know, Thorn. I call you Thorn. That's crazy, right? Pedro, my humblest apology. That's like somebody saying St. Peter North, right? That's a slip of the tongue, man, in the moment. Because I have been drinking all right, but I've been drinking fruit juice, unfermented. Let me just add that. Anyhow, we built the pyramids. We are gods within. That's right. Slave man mentality, expect a massa. That's right. We're the gods. That's why I said this battle is for our minds, family. They need your energy to sustain their liberty. So they need you to consent to slavery so they can rule you. So they could rule over you. You have to consent to that. Yes, you can cross the floor. Who tell you that? Well, yes, you can cross the floor, and the truth is, integrity should cause you to just resign, not cross the floor. Because the people that you cross the floor and join, how can they really ever trust you? Because you came from the opposite side. You came from the opposite side. Can't trust you. You could be a mole. Not true, Judy. It could be a mole sent. Who's to say that me and Monty didn't sell Ralph Tron to disrupt the whole thing and he getting paid? Who is to say? You can't really tell. By the way, I'm not saying that he is, by the way, Judy. Switch sides, switch sides is a different thing. Even me switch sides. Well, that's what I'm saying. They all do it, but I'm not saying they don't do it. I'm saying in some countries that does not happen. Doesn't happen. Integrity. Honor. You for the people and your people ain't doing what the people doing, then that's drift. Go do something different. Help the people. Otherwise, you don't join the enemy to fight the enemy that you know that was once your enemy, that now you fighting your own and back and forth. That is crazy. That's like Laodiceans. Ras, leave Jesus. King Tafari got overthrown. All right, I like that. I like that. You say, Ras, leave Jesus, King Tafari got overthrown. Well, Pedro, you clever. You playing with the words, right? I follow you. You said King Tafari. But guess what? Haile Selassie the first never got overthrown. You see what I'm saying? So I understand you though, Pedro. But like I said, Haile Selassie the first never got overthrown. And that is what we're dealing with, right? Haile Selassie the first. The power of the Trinity. I like you, Pedro. I like you. We have followed nothing and given up everything with a smile due to ignorance. And this is why they do what they do. Because of ignorance, the DLP got gullible, and that's what it swallowed. Sorry, that's what it sowed. He said the DLP got gullible, and that's what it sowed. Well, you know what? You know the other side of that coin is that you reap what you sow. And that was for Ronnie, what you just play from Ronald Jones. So don't put that for Mr. Thorne. Judy, listen, I hope, right, that Mr. Thorne knows that he has, I'm sure he has many faithful followers. Well, let me phrase that. Many faithful supporters. And clearly, Judy, you are one. And I commend you for having the courage to come forward and stand by what you believe in. That's what it's about. But we tend to learn from people who disagree with us, Judy. So it's okay to disagree with me. I'm sure there's some things that we continue a dialogue that you might agree on. Next week program, I have 1, 2, well, maybe I'll do 3, but I have 2 programs next week dealing with some resolutions. Enough about discussing the problems. We talking. I gave you one tonight about agriculture. Well, I give you part of it, about how to feed the people. I'm gonna give you some more because hopefully the DLP picks up the information and run with it. Maybe the BLP will pick it up and run with it, or the DLP. But Barbados National Congress is not a political party. It's a governing body, and we do not need permission to have elections or campaign or votes or whatever they call it. We don't. Pedro, we about the work. We just do the work. Full stop. Wait, Noel? Noel? The first Noel? My greetings to you, man. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? No. Where in the world is Noel? Noel, I ain't see you in a while, man. What's going on, brethren? Some of our family involved start pretending to be a victim. I'm not sure what that one is for, Pedro. If this is, I'm not sure who that one is for, but getting some clarity on that for a minute. Jim Jones in charge of the water bills. So the 300, she already got it back. Well, I like that, Jim Jones. I see where you're going with this, Thelma. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, family, is all I'm going to tell you. India was the largest human buyers, much larger than the Europeans. We know that already, man, for sure. For sure. Much, much larger. The issue wasn't necessarily the buy-in of the people. It was the treatment of the people. And therein lies the problem. Thorne was DLP first. Yeah, I suspect that. I think that's what it was. But again, family, for them concerned, they're all the same, man. Cut the BLP money and give the poor people's some out of their money. Listen, I totally agree with you, Judy. I tell you, we're going to agree on a lot of things, you know. I think these ministers, in fact, Judy, I think that ministers who have their seat should never be able to campaign come election. I think a sitting minister should not be allowed to campaign because if he was doing his work and his duty in his constituency, that would be his campaign message. The folks would already know the works he has been doing, and therefore he wouldn't got to go and beg for votes. People would already love him and support him. But if he's not been showing up, the folks would overthrow him, and that's what should have happened. But, you know, there is no switch. It tricks a leopard. Don't lose its spot. There's no switch. It's tricks. A leopard doesn't. Well, don't lose its spots because it's running with tigers. Yeah. There's no switch. It's tricks. Pam, where you get such profound wisdom from Said a leopard doesn't change its spots because it's running with tigers. Listen, this is why I love my politically incorrect family here. Barbados National Congress family. That's what it is. We come in, Pedro. Don't worry. Come into a community near you just now. Or rather yet, not a constituency, a community. Torn cross twice. BLP. Really? DLP, BLP, back to DLP. Well, I guess twice would be, yeah. Cross back to B. Cross. I suppose so. I really don't know. I really don't keep up with the politics. But give thanks, Mr. Hunt. Peter Hunt, I thank you. I thank you very much. You only cross when in Parliament. Cross is the term used. I like that. You only crossed when in Parliament. Cross is the term used. Yeah, Pedro, you see the play with words, right? Greetings to the family here. Donna P. Greetings, welcome. If you're on tonight, tuning in for the first time, tell us where you call it. Tell us where you're tuning in from, man. Voters turnout was very low. But Tim, there's a reason why it was low. That's my whole thing. It's not that voter turnout was low. It's perspective. It's not that voters turnout was low. It's that Barbadians are no longer being fooled by or being captivated or being possessed or put in a trance by the political ministers promising you prosperity on earth, like some ministers promise you prosperity in heaven. The only prosperity we can get as a people is through unity, coming together, organizing, centralizing, and mobilizing ourselves. That is the only way. And unfortunately, Banton done Ted already. It's not an easy road. Greetings to you too, Maureen. Greetings. The best way to honor our ancestors is to learn our history, be proud of where we came from, and understand what legacy we will leave for the generations to come. Oh my goodness. That is it right there, Maureen Denny. I want to give thanks to you for that. Positive energy, serious energy. This is what we're talking about here, Barbados National Congress. It's about the legacy, connecting the past with the present and building a legacy for the future generations. Not in the political arena. Politics is politics. Politics, poly and ticks. We already know what it means. They were never for the people. That is the illusion of inclusion. Keep you involved. Come out and vote. Be a part of this. Be a part of that. A message to the DLP. Leadership and strategy. Unfortunately, silence is not consent. It is betrayal. And the DLP did not show up for Ms. Dujon the way they claim they all in solidarity. Nah, Barbadians aren't stupid, or what the lady said me, she called me stupid. But she didn't call me stupid. She was just typing. That was a typo. Thorn ain't the only one that crossed. Man, I like that. You're right. He's not the only one that crossed. As far as I'm concerned, how to say this? You're right. Thorn is not the only one that crossed. They have all crossed. They have all crossed off the people of this nation called Barbados. They've crossed us all off. They're insular. They only focus on themselves and their own agenda. They have no interest in the people whatsoever. They've all crossed us off completely. And by virtue of you acquiescing to that, you are agreeing to be treated the way they decide to treat all of us. But it's a new day. Barbadian voters are becoming exploiters by all of these corrupt politicians. You know what, Noel? Yeah, Noel. I mean, let me change that. No, let me say this instead. The voters, people who come out to vote, may not fully grasp how that system works I asked somebody a question recently. Tell me one country that is led by descendants of what they consider the slave trade. Pardon me. That's led by them. One country that democracy has worked and is working for the success and the prosperity of the people of that nation. Tell me one, just one. Language can't move. Listen, language can't move. It's the action. Same action got different words. Facts, man, Pedro. I agree. I totally agree. The DLP had nothing, but nothing leaves. Why? That's my point. That's why what happened. They brought nothing. The testicular fortitude she has that. I'm not asking you which she you referring to. We're not playing that, Rhonda. Who you say she? Who you make testicular fortitude? No woman has no. Well, let me not even get into that. I not even. Rhonda, don't even start that. Rastafari and Emperor Haile Selassie was or still is a politician. Is certainly a politician. From the standpoint of a physical being, yes, I agree with you, Pedro. Haile Selassie the First, as a spiritual order, is a conversation that we need to have differently. And until we reach a stage where we're mature enough to have that conversation, we're not going to understand it. God in the flesh. Yes, God in the flesh. His Majesty acquiesced. The people said they wanted to do something different. Okay. I would step aside. I would step aside. I ain't gonna fight and go against. I would step aside. Integrity and honor. So we could discuss that. We could discuss that. But Haile Selassie first can never be used as a was. Never in the past tense, Pedro. Always is. Once you understand that, then you understand where you're coming from. The lies. India had people of color originally. We of color were everywhere. This slavery is just a script, so we would not value ourselves. Unfortunately, it worked. We have our drum beat. Pam, I want to add sign up to that too. We use this word India. The word India comes from the word indica. And when last I checked, indica is a different color than we are being told and being shown, right? Don't forget, like Latinos didn't exist the way they were before. They were dark-skinned people, what we call Tainos. In fact, they look basically like you and I. None this far. Anyhow, been on, it's almost 2 hours. That wasn't the plan, family. Y'all will keep these comments going all night, right? We gonna go though, man. We just having a conversation. Like I said, family, the war is for your mind, man. We got to get into governance, learning ourselves, knowing who you are, know thyself. The BLP and DLP all tell you to come out and vote. I don't understand you. Take your mouth off the DLP. Judy, look, man. I like how you said it. They both, you know what's funny, Judy? You and I singing the same thing, you know. My mouth is not on the DLP or BLP. I'm telling you, as a people, we got to start to do for ourselves what we keep asking these two parties to do for us. That's all they're telling you, Judy. Be aware that the difference between the two of them, 6 is half dozen, right? The democracy comes from Greece. It never worked over there, and it certainly ain't working over here. The world was given to the wicked, and people ask and pray that they will do the right thing. I like that. She is standing her ground. Oh man, Rhonda, how you doing, man? Rhonda, you got to come in on Monday night, Rhonda, and give us an update on what's going on. Autocracy worked everywhere. He said, yes, it is on the DLP. Well, again, Judy, my apology. My mouth is not on any DLP or BLP. The DLP and BLP, as far as I'm concerned, just for the record, as far as I am concerned, is the same thing. They're just two different sides of the same coin, because neither the DLP or the BLP run this plantocracy. They're both instruments of the colonizers who sit in the background and just watch it all playing out. And based on the agitation of the people, they just push brakes or they press gas. That's all. They push brakes or they press gas. Right now, Miss Mortley is the gas pedal. And the reason why she's the gas pedal is because they have a different vision and a different plan for Barbados. A very different vision and a very different plan. And the DLP is the illusion of choice. You ain't got the choice between the two. That's why there's only two. And then they keep telling you they're only going to be two. That's why you see that you ain't got no other choice. But none of the two of them have been working effectively for the people of the nation. They only work for the people of the plantocracy, Judy. So I don't know if you're used to this page or if you just stumble onto it tonight, but I thank you and everybody else for tuning in. And Rhonda, hopefully be on early. Let's say 9:30, 9:30, Rhonda. Let's play it by ear. But there's many things to go and take a look at. Lots of information. But anyhow, family, go tell a friend to tell a friend. Politically incorrect. We out for the night. We're going to leave it at that. But like I say, silence isn't consent. It's betrayal. And we are well past that at this stage, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the reality of it, man. We've been going and going and going. But remember one thing, man. The fortune of this world only favors those who are brave and those who are bold to speak truth to power and stand up when necessary and do what has to be done in the face of all adversity. So this is my thing right now, family. What we need to do is recognize, if never ever before, that we have to organize ourselves better, centralize ourselves better, and mobilize ourselves so that we could do for ourselves everything that these people promising to do for you. Because they don't even promise you much, you know. They don't promise you much at all. These billion-dollar projects, all these other projects, the most you get promised is a job before and after, pushing a pancart or picking up sheets on towels or whatever. You don't get no shares and stocks and dividends. You don't get none of that. You don't get none of that. You get crumbs falling off the master's table. It is high time we use ourselves and build. Then Judy, just for the record, they didn't bring no slaves to Barbados here. Somebody lied to you. In fact, just for you.
Somebody advising you wrong.
They brought skilled artisans, craftsmen. They brought masons over here to build this nation you call Barbados, this cooperation you know as Barbados with your B and DLP colonial parties that were extension of the plantocracy and the plantation, Judy. They weren't no slaves here. Artisan, men who were skilled in mathematics, doctors, physicians, men who could build these buildings that last centuries, these cathedrals and stuff. You think slaves, ignorant people build them things? Nah, man. Nah, that ain't what happened, Judy. Somebody lied to you, man. Democracy is a false sense of security. I love it. This is facts. Pedro said, I asked if any worked. That vision that you telling me that the BLP have for the people, I can't see it. Look, Judy, I with you, but I can see where, I see the vision. I see the vision. The vision, however, isn't for the people of Barbados. The vision is for those who come in. Those who come in. You know, Judy, when the tidal wave coming, right? One of the characteristics of a tidal wave, right, is that the sea that you once knew goes out The sea is sucked up into what is coming. So imagine you at the beach and you as a fisherman and the sea suddenly move and all of a sudden you start seeing fish all over the place. Like, wait, what? You run up there to catch all that fish and collect all the fish, and what you might not be aware of is that the sea that left is going to return. But when it returns, man, it brings fury and change. We mustn't allow Barbados to become sucked up into this political tsunami that we are witnessing. The DLP doesn't have the ability to stop it because they are part of it. They're truly a part of it. And that's why all these lawyers that are loyal to the fraternity and for the King of England and this kind of rhetoric, political jargon, they are not for the people who by virtue will be considered the peasants. The King's Council will see anybody outside of the King's Palace as a peasant. Ralph Thorne, as a King's Council, wearing a King's Council title, will see you, Judy, and every Barbadian as peasants. Don't let them fool you, man. Don't let them fool you. That's the bottom line. And that don't make me, I boy keep thinking that, in fact, go watch the other programs. I ain't even explaining myself, man. This is 2025. You either know or you don't know, man. Gaddafi was the last. Democracy is a false sense of security. That's what it is, man. That's what it is, man. Politicians, preachers, lawyers, have you noticed how often they quote the Bible, a book that has caused much turmoil across the world? I can't trust. Now, you can't trust them. Can't trust any of them. We're going to do a discussion next week. Like I said, we're going to discuss some of these solutions, and we're going to discuss the same thing right here next week, man. I'm looking forward to it. Barbados was and still is the port for the Americas. Man, I see people doing the history. Bring it all out, man. All BDLP, all friends and family sit at each other's table at our expense while we divide. Facts, 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 facts. I would trust any of them. Yes, I wouldn't trust them either. A book designed to keep us enslaved. Anyhow, it's a senior counsel fooling you. I ain't even getting that with you, Pedro. Yes, I got you, Maureen. We got you loud and clear, man. Barbados lawyers are all connected to the political establishment. Of course. Greetings, family. Full house tonight. Nah, we already got a full house, man. We just got a few folks tuning in. We give thanks to brethren. It's always, listen, the ancestors are always with us, man. So energy always about the place, man. But I'm glad to see the idea. You got to watch this on the replay, though. You miss all the action. We're going to catch up, though. But listen, family, 2 hours, man. Let me go. I don't want to be on here so long, man. Pedro said you ain't getting into that, huh? Nah, Pedro. Pedro, look, why you don't come on tonight, Pedro? Let me reason, though. You always got something to say. You were sure. I'm going to do an open night, man. It's 97 watching. Listen, don't fool yourself. It's way more than 97 watching. Trust when I tell you. They be meeting in rooms, right? And they have this on the projector, and they all sit there, analyze it, and go through it. The king has spoken. Judy, the king has spoken. I out of here, man. Let me go for the night, man. Y'all been great. Maureen said your channel just popped up, but I'll check out your channel another night. Tell you what, like what you said, you gotta like and how you gotta go and say it again? Like, share, and subscribe. Whatever. Just click subscribe, click on the bell so you get your notifications. Cause Maureen, this page is not like the rest of pages. This is a page. This ain't like the others. And by others, I mean others, period. It's not trying to juxtapose to anybody. I simply say that to say that I surprised it popped up on your page, interestingly enough. So make sure you like the program to do the whole algorithm thing. Y'all already know, man, what to do. I ain't even telling y'all. But there's a lot of information on politically incorrect, because we incorrect. And if I'm not correct, my number's on the screen. Call and correct me. WhatsApp me. Let me know if I wrong and just correct me. I ain't above that. Noel, I ain't not playing no Peter Tosh. I ain't see you in however long. Pedro, you see this man? You know Lana won't call the tune. Cha. Peter. I can't. I don't know if I can do a Peter Tosh. I had a tune here tonight. I actually want to play a tune for real. I got a tune I want to play. Get Better. But I don't know. I want to play this. The Spirit brought this to my awareness. I was actually looking for it the night we did the program in Dominica, and I couldn't find it for some reason. I'm not sure why. I couldn't. Oh, I see why. It wasn't in my. Yeah, I just added it. It wasn't in my list on my playlist. I just realized. I thought it was. But I want to play this in honor of Dominica, because although we're not paying attention, let me just go ahead and share the screen. Yeah. I'm going to play this tune right here. Pedro said Noel will disappear again. Sean, sorry. Noel, Sean got taught for you, man. So you can disappear again, man. You know, Noel be a busy man, you know. I think Noel was looking for a wife at some point. Noel, I have a wife for you, Noel. I have a wife for you. Well, I should say a wife. A companion. At a certain stage, you don't want a wife, you want a companion. I don't think Noel looking to get remarried right now. But I want to play a tune, man. This brother right here had a message, you know, and Pedro came up in my feed, so I want to just drop it real quick. But again, family, Haile Selassie first, Empress Wazir Menin, all I know, one perfect balance. Give thanks again for y'all tuning in, sharing your energy, synergy, and give thanks for being respectful always. Shout out to Judy and the other brother, I think it was Michael was his name, for sharing their thoughts and being honest with their opinions. I respect it. And Judy, thank you again. I think you would make a great leader. I think you should probably, maybe you are involved in politics, I don't know. But not just in politics, but maybe community work, helping the community. Because community need a speaker, a voice of the voiceless. If you're interested in being a part of Barbados National Congress, give me a call. My number on the screen. And we could explain what the works we are currently involved in and currently doing. And you're going to see an advertisement very soon in the paper from Barbados National Congress. Soon and very, very soon. Again, it's about the works, man. I ain't knocking a politician or politics. Let them work for the plantocracy. That's what they're there to do. That's why all they ever do is enhance the plantocracy. Who is governing the governless? Who is overseeing the mother and the fatherless, the widow and the orphan? Who is looking out? What's the Psalms 86, Pedro? Who is taking care of the people at the level of the people? Nobody. But I can't say that. There's some folks doing community works. And again, I salute everybody putting in work at whatever level. Let us centralize our efforts. Let us centralize our efforts and mobilize forward straight. And having said that, I want to drop this tune here in honor of
it's only gonna get better. Only gonna get better. Yeah, mama tell me, keep going on. No matter how much pressure you receive. Papa tell me, keep going strong. You know you're bound to do that thing. Train myself, get strength from my family and my God. Hold my head strong. Champion, yeah, me see them fight for. Enough them did a bend like poor. Fin them brand, them want sell soul. From you know I work, freaky thing you gonna do. I know there must be a God. I know there must be love. Somewhere out there fly. It's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better. No, it must get better. Extremists, like the jihadists, them shoulda know when we shoot and we no miss. Every day in a bush and we practice whatever that we preach. From his hundred that me tell you that me teach and me live. Come and check me in the country and with the trees and dip on the field. Ganja me have a plant and have a sell it, no sell all it up in a promotion. I know there must be a God. I know there must be life. Sweet life out there, right? Even if it's rough in a yard, even if that mama did bad, no, there's life. Can't jam and I tell the story them to tell. We didn't appel straight from Campbell, screaming out free Daniel. You me want to see me brother again. Me have to find giant what we win. Every day that is sun we chillin'. Do what we can and when we finish. Time for some movie and man I'm stopping. I know there must be a God. I know there must be life. Sweet life out there for it's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better. I know it must get better.
Wait. Only to take something from you, family. Don't let it take it from you, family. That's right. Don't let them take it from you, family. We there, man. We there. That's what's up, man. Anyhow, family, it must get better. But the way it gets better is by us doing what we need to do for the sake of the younger generation. That's what's up. We can have our differences. That's not a problem. We can even have discussions on these differences. But let us not, and I say this in closing here, let us not ever not remember that we don't fight for us now, we fight for those to come. Let us fight with victory in mind. Good over evil all day, every day. Y'all have a restful, peaceful, upful, joyful weekend. Make it strong. Make your weekend strong. And see y'all, inshallah, coming forward. Only gets better, man, right?
Another must be life. Sweet life out there for it's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better.
Only get better, family.
I know it must get better.